as we've been playing with some fractions, I'm trying to help you think of them in different ways so that it makes sense, the math steps that you have to take when you are adding or subtracting fractions. We're going to be working the next long while on making sure that you do that correctly. So, first of all, we have this already in the folder. Please find this page, and you will notice when we have added before, we kept the size of the pieces the same. We did a bit of an investigation, putting 5/10 into 1/2, and that still turned out to end up in halves. But until we got the 5/10 to look like halves, till we got the pieces the same size, we couldn't tell how many pieces there were of that size. So the size of your pieces, that bottom number, matters a lot before you can start adding or subtracting however many pieces you're talking about. To apply that now, we are going to do a bit of pattern work and say what happens if you take 1/2 and you add to it 1/4. So first of all, I'm going to do a bit of a drawing. Halves, I need 2 pieces. All right, so I have that 1/2. But I want to add to it 1/4. Well, I only have one other half here, so how do I know the size of 1/4? Well, I take my whole, but instead of having it divided into halves, this one, I just make each half into 2 pieces. Why? Because that's the way that I have 4 pieces total. So my 1/4 is right here. Well, so far, if I add 1/2 plus 1/4, I know I have 1/2 and I have 1/4. The size of the pieces aren't the same yet. Hopefully you're miles ahead of me and you are trying to tell me, well, but wait a minute. What if I just make my halves into fourths as well? And I now see, okay, I have 1/4 and I have 2 fourth size pieces. So that means I have 3 fourth size pieces. What does that look like mathematically? Well, I didn't mess with my fourths, did I? But I was able to turn my halves into fourths by multiplying that by 2. However, when I got fourths, I also doubled the amount of pieces that I had on the top. So to get a common denominator, the same sized pieces, 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So I now have 2 out of 4 pieces plus the 1 out of 4 that I already have. When I add that up, as soon as the pieces are the same size, I keep those pieces that size. So 2 fourths plus 1 more fourth still gives me fourths. It just gives me 3 of those fourths. Another example then. What if I'm adding 1/2 plus 2 fourths? Well, again, if I draw it out, half, I have 1 out of 2 pieces, fourths, now I have 2 out of 4 pieces, But wait, I have 2/4, I have 1/2. The pieces aren't the same size yet. So I still just have 1/2 and 2/4. All right, fine. All I need to do then is multiply the bottom, how many total there are, by 2, and the top, multiply that by 2. Just my halves are changing so that instead of 1/2, I now have 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2/4 plus, 2/4. It's the same amount. Hopefully you saw that. If I have 2 out of 4 pieces and 2 more out of 4 pieces, I'm still going to have pieces that are 4th size. Once my pieces are the same size, I'm not going to change that. I am going to change out how many total I have. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those pieces that are 4ths. Now remember, the bottom number tells me how many it takes to get an entire candy bar. I started out with 1 out of 2 pieces and 2 out of 4 pieces. When I add those two amounts together, I get 4 out of 4 pieces. If it takes 4 pieces to make the whole thing and you have 4 pieces, the simplest way of showing that is to say you have the whole thing. One more example here. You might see this coming. What if I say 1/2 plus 3/4? Okay. Here's my half. I'll put my 4ths down underneath this time so they don't run into what I had up. Well, no, I can put them on top. They don't run in yet, do they? Okay. So, there's 1/2. In order to have 4ths, I need 4 pieces. Of those 4 pieces, 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 out of 4 pieces and 1 out of 2 pieces. If I put them together, I still have 3/4 and 1/2. I need to have the pieces the same size so I know the total number of pieces. Well, I can double the number of pieces instead of halves, and all of a sudden have 4ths. How many 4ths did I take? Well, that was 2/4 down here, plus the 3/4 that I had on top. Now that the size of the pieces are exactly the same, we're going to keep the size of the pieces the same, so we have 4ths. How many of them do we have? 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, 5/4. Now this gets a bit interesting, right? Because I know 4/4 makes a whole thing. So I could show that here by erasing that 4th and putting it up here. There I've got 4/4. Now I have one whole thing, and I have 1 out of 4 left over. Another way to think about it is, well, it takes 4/4 to make a whole thing. I have 4/4 plus 1 more 4th. I'll just write it simpler. 1 whole thing plus 1 more 4th. 4/4 and 1 more 4th. This needs to be in your folder today, and the next video is going to explain your assignment.